I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first item on the agenda today is a bid opening, Public Works item. I'll have Public Works Department come up here and give us a little bit of a shakedown on it. Well, hey, start there and tell us what it is.
Morning, Commissioners. Scott Adams, Public Works. Today we got a bid opening for the Tyee Road embankment repair project. This is one of the slides or slumps that was left over from the rainstorms over a year ago. We would have got this done sooner, but we were messing around trying to get it funded and get some recovery funds from FEMA, in which we were rejected with that multiple times. Didn't matter how we spun it. So in this case, we still needed to get it done, so we engineered it in-house. We'll be doing inspection and construction engineering in-house as well, but this will be an outsourced project for some heavy lifting by some contractors. So,
Any questions for me? Staff or just
I think the estimate's 781, is that right?
yes.
come on up, get her started. First one on here is from LTM.
First bid, LTM Knife River Materials, $332,216. $332,216.
Okay, next one is from Visar Construction Company.
Next bid, Visar Construction Company is $444,950.
Next one we got is from Thomas and Thomas.
Next bid from Thomas and Thomas is $458,013.15.
We have one here from JRT Construction.
Next bid, JRT Construction is $313,742.
This one is from Leduc Construction.
Bid from Leduc Construction is $589,546.10.
And our last one is from Mars Construction.
Bid from Mars Construction is $719,280.
Suspect you're gonna review those and kinda see what's going on between your engineer's estimate and the other bids and see what,
Yeah, we'll come back with a
and
recommendation.
come back down to a recommendation for us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is our consent agenda, both extensions and or slight modification. These items are considered routine and I would move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Mr. Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Boyce?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. Next item is citizens' questions or comments on our agenda items. Do you have anybody wanting to comment on our agenda items?
Nobody online.
Nobody online. Okay, we'll move on. Number 4 is a county council item.
Tiffany Podlesnik, County Council. This is a bargain and sale deed and a corresponding payment instruction sheet for the title company to deed property located in Reedsport, Oregon, back to the former owner pursuant to ORS 275.180.
I will move to approve the bargain and sale deed.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. Item number 5 is Human Resource Department. I think Commissioner Freeman's gonna do this one.
Yeah, this is our annual payment for the workers' compensation insurance coverage through SAFE. This covers the employees here at the county and our search and rescue volunteers. And I would move to approve the payment authorization.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. Item number 6 has some industrial development stuff. Commissioner Boyce?
So this is a project that's being worked on in conjunction with the tribe about a feasibility study for some folks who have a idea for a timber themed amusement park sort of thing, if you will, and they have approached the tribe about a partnership. The tribe has invested some money in this, and it's I think a good opportunity for the county if it can come to fruition. So this is very preliminary, but a grant to Timberlands Partners LLC for startup costs and feasibility study for a potential project in Winston. Move to approve the grant agreement.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any more questions or comments?
Well, just to say that, the idea of, bringing this type of attraction in conjunction with other things we have here in Douglas County, like wildlife safari and other really amazing things we have here in Douglas County is pretty exciting. I know it takes a lot of work to get all the different factors figured out to see whether it's going to be feasible or not, and this is a step in that direction. The jobs that it would create and the tourism economy that it would help bolster is well worth investing into, so I'm very supportive of this.
Great. Anything else? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and motion passes. Item number 7 is a juvenile department. Item Corey Tate.
Get special music. Good morning, Corey Tate, Lipstick Coordinator and Grant Administration housed in the Juvenile Department. Before you is the first amendment to the intergovernmental agreement number RSAT-22-01. It revises the program description to change fiscal contact information and extends the agreement until 9/30 of 27. This federal grant is through the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission and is used for a dedicated sheriff deputy that's housed and part of our RSAT program that's in the Douglas County Jail.
I will move to approve the intergovernmental grant agreement amendment and extension.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments?
Just real quick, I am on the Criminal Justice Commission, and historically I have chose not to vote on these items. We spent about an hour and a half training yesterday at the Criminal Justice Commission meeting, And they were very clear that government entities do not have to declare conflict. So I won't be declaring a conflict, but I am on the CJC and I'm very familiar with this grant and the work that it does here in the county. So happy that we're getting it done.
Great. Anything else? Then I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and motion passes. Thank you, Cory.
Thank you.
Item number 8 is management and finance. Deal, and I think Commissioner Boyce is gonna handle this one.
Yeah, this is a cooperative agreement between Douglas County and USDA APHIS. This is something that we've done or participated in for years. This is for the what has historically become known as the county trapper, which is not actually what it is. The county doesn't have a trapper, but it's the federally employed trappers and wildlife managers who handle conflicts between predators and folks with agriculture, whether it be animals or plants. So things like bobcats, cougars, beavers, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I move to approve the agreement.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any other questions or comments? Then I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a planning department item. Item for planning director, Joshua Shackley.
Morning, Commissioners. Joshua Shackley, Douglas County Planning. Before you this morning is a board order affirming the findings of fact and decision of the June 18th, 2026 Planning Commission for Pachamama Farm LLC. The request is for Planning Department file number 26-018, a plan amendment of a 0.61 acre unit of land from commercial to committed residential 2 acre, together with a zone change from CRC, our rural commercial, community commercial, to RR, rural residential 2. What's some questions you have?
I'll move to approve the board order.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on this? Then I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and motion passes. Thank you, Joshua. Item number 10 is a Public Works Department item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Scott Adams, Public Works. Item number 10 is a purchase agreement and board orders accepting a permanent easement and a temporary easement from Linda M. Schramm. This is for the construction project, Azalea Glen Road, Safe Routes to School project, project number 1119. The purchase price for the easement and both temporary and permanent is $1,200.
Move to approve the purchase of real property.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? Then I'll call for the question. Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. Item number 11 is also a Public Works Department item.
Again, Scott Adams, Public Works. This is a contract between Douglas County and Lone Rock Logging Company to provide miscellaneous road maintenance as needed, on a call as needed basis. Expiration date of July 1st of 2027.
Move to approve the contract.
I'll second that.
Questions or comments? Then I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and motion passes. Thank you, Scott. The next item is a Sheriff's Department item.
Morning, Commissioners. John Hanlon, Sheriff. Item number 12 is a contract amendment. It's the second amendment of contract number 3002594 between Douglas County and Med Trust, which is the jail healthcare provider. The amendment follows discussions with the vendor as outlined in the original agreement for adjustments for CPI increase to cover increased costs and professional liability insurance. Along with that comes a new expiration date of 6/30/2027.
We'll move to approve the contract amendment.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? Then I'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Freeman.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. Item 13 is also Sheriff's Department item.
Yeah, this is an intergovernmental agreement between Douglas County and the State of Oregon Department of Corrections for the use of a statewide automated victim notification system in the Douglas County Jail. There is no financial cost for the use of this system. And this system is a program that allows victims to register online through the Douglas County Sheriff's Office Corrections Division tab in our webpage. Allows them to be notified when someone is being released, when the suspect of this victim's crime is being released or being transferred to another jail facility.
Move to approve the intergovernmental agreement.
Second that.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Thank you for making this service available. This is important.
Call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Freeman.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. Thank you, Sheriff. This item is an off-agenda item. Commissioner Freeman.
Yeah, so, thank you. We have, part of the process, of Secure Rural Schools is making an election, on whether we want to receive the Secure Rural School payment or actual timber receipts. The, election, form to the state is due the 20th of this month. And we're trying to wait as long as we can to get as much information as we can before we make that decision. The timber receipt time period ends at the end of September. So we're literally having to make this decision before we know what the final numbers are going to be. There's also a pretty extensive effort in Congress right now to remove the ONC lands from the third year of the Secure Rural Schools that this election takes effect on. And if that occurs, it makes the decision much easier on the Forest Service side just to take the SRS and take the receipts on the ONC side. But until we have all those, all that information or as much as we can, we're asking all the ONC counties to wait as long as they can to make the decision. Again, the decision is due by the 20th and we're not having a meeting next week. So I'd like to move to delegate authority for that decision to the Chief Financial Officer, Dan Wilson, and I'll work with him to make sure we have as much information as we can.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any more questions or comments? I just want to comment, thank you for getting, being diligent about it and getting down to the wire and trying to do the best with it.
I was back and forth with the state director multiple times in the last few days trying to get all the information we can. And not only is that important for Douglas County, but for the other 17 counties, it's really important too, so.
That'll call for the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and motion passes. It's time for some commissioner comments. Commissioner Boyce?
So a couple things. Graffiti Week. I'm excited about having a car show back out at River Forks. We worked with the graffiti committee and different car clubs in the community to bring a car show back to River Forks Park during Graffiti Week. It's gonna be out there on Sunday. A new group of folks excited to be there. We're very excited to be included and help put on this monumental event in Roseburg every year. Something that we've always been supportive of and I'm looking forward to it. The second thing I was gonna mention, we talked about this a little bit, but since the city council in Roseburg has adopted their sanctuary city status, I've had a few people outside, just in the community, ask us where we were at on that. We've talked about it in this meeting before, but we've had a few folks ask to make a formal declaration or resolution, so I'm gonna propose that we do that next week or whenever we have our next meeting. You guys wanna talk about that in the meeting? We'll take some formal action on it. That's it.
I'll put it on the agenda for the 22nd.
Perfect.
Mr. Freeman?
I'm very supportive of doing something around making sure people know our position on the sanctuary and that it's not the same as Roseburg. So we oftentimes get grouped into that. We also get drug into what's going on with the homeless camps consistently. And it's challenging because our courthouse happens to be in the city of Roseburg, but we are Douglas County Commissioners and we do not control what happens in city parks or city properties. So we try to work with all the different cities to help them deal with, their issues within their city limits. Roseburg's been a challenge, and I equally get frustrated with us getting grouped into their decision-making around homeless as I do with their decision-making around sanctuary status. So after we get done with the sanctuary one, maybe we can work on some homeless stuff also. The comment I had today was really around some work that I do as part of the Criminal Justice Commission. I've been appointed to that now for several years. I've been recently elected as part of the executive board of the Criminal Justice Commission, and because of that, I'm trying to commit to go in person to more of the meetings. They do the meetings around the state. We had our meeting in Deschutes County yesterday in Bend. I went over after work on Monday evening, stayed the night, and spent the entire day yesterday touring facilities and learning about programs, the way Deschutes County does stuff as it pertains to some of the funding and the grants that the Criminal Justice Commission is involved in. We also had a opportunity, this happens almost every year, but at least every 2 years. One of the roles of the Criminal Justice Commission is to make recommendations on the sentencing guidelines. So we go through all the new laws or laws that have been changed around crimes, and we make recommendations to put in a rule how the sentencing guideline is going to be applied to each of those rules. And we agreed on most of those yesterday. There was one that was split between, there was only 8 of the 9 commissioners there. It was a 4-4 vote, so we'll have a follow-up meeting on that. But some of that stuff we do is pretty important. It affects real people, and mostly, in my opinion, it affects the victims of crime. And we should be looking out for those victims of crime and making sure that the decisions we're making hold people accountable. Not everybody on the commission sees the role of the Criminal Justice Commission the same. So, as you imagine, the governor appoints these people, and politically I'm probably in a little different place than most of the people on the commission. So oftentimes having a perspective from rural or conservative Oregon is good for the commission. So I appreciate my fellow commissioners allowing me the time to go do this work.
It's interesting you think about that, because without your perspective being heard on there, some of the outcomes could be quite different, which is what you're alluding to. It could be, and now you got to wonder how many other commissions the state has out there that doesn't have a rural perspective that and we're having to deal with.
I was on the Early Learning Council for a while, and sort of same situation there. So I think it's very common that the majority of the citizens live in the bigger cities that lean politically a different way than the rural part of the state. So I know some people are like, well, why would you do that work for the governor? Why would you, if the governor asked you to be on a commission, it happened to be Governor Brown that appointed me this, and Governor Kotek reappointed me. My answer back to that is, if we don't participate from rural Oregon and from a conservative point of view, then there's no representation on these boards. So just the opportunity to get asked, I feel almost obligated to say yes to that. I know we have a couple people in our county working on some ad hoc committees right now that the governor asked. The transportation one, I think Bruce Hanna's working on that, former Speaker of the House. And on the Prosperity Council, I think Toby Luther, both, very conservative perspective, rural Oregon minded people. And both of them kind of had the same question from people when they were announced that they were going to do that work. And I think they would answer the same way I did, is that if you don't participate, it's pretty hard to complain about it. So, but it does take some time, and I'm happy to do it.
Good. Grateful for that. One thing I got to say is I got the opportunity to spend the weekend over at Winchester Bay, and if the goal was to do some economic development through tourism over there, I think we've done pretty well. That might be an understatement.
Yes.
The coastal properties were quite full, but beyond that, well, more importantly, really, is the businesses were packed. people were happy, there was stuff going on, and it was pretty cool to see. And you know, weather was awesome, so you can't complain about that either. But thanks for doing all that work over there. It's looking good.
Let's come together.
Okay, with that, I'm gonna.
Working the east side of the county
Yeah, I think
too,
I'll work
aren't
the
you?
east side of the county this weekend and see if we can get how the tourism doing there. All right, thank you all. We're gonna adjourn